In this lesson, we're going to talk about your second complex data type, dictionaries. The first one that we covered was list, and now we're going to do dictionaries. And dictionaries have a key value. So it's very similar to a physical dictionary, and the key is the word, and when you look it up, the value is the definition. But we can put in different data types, both for the key and the value. Now, the advantage of a dictionary is that it has constant time lookup. So it's extremely fast to both put data in there and retrieve data from it. If you had to look for a specific word in a list, and it was a really big list, you would have to start at the beginning and go all the way to the end to make sure that it was in there. With a dictionary, it goes straight to that key and you can retrieve it very quickly. Let me show you how to create dictionaries. To start with, we're going to learn about using numbers and strings as the key. You can use other more complex data types. We're not going to cover those yet because we haven't gotten to it. But here in our first dictionary, we say D equal, and there are these braces, opening and closing brace. Each key, now in this case, there's strings, colon, value, then comma, the next key, the next value, comma. But it's a colon in between the key and the value when you're creating the dictionary at the beginning. Here we have D2, which is a string value for the key, but a number value, which happens to be the price of the fruit. Now with D3, we're using numbers as values and we're mapping them to strings, people's first names. And D4, we're just creating an empty dictionary. And many times you're going to want to do that. As a matter of fact, we will do this in the example code I show you below. The first thing that you learn with dictionaries after creating them is how do I retrieve the value of a given key? It's the same square bracket syntax that you use with list, but instead of always using a number for the position, you insert the key in between the square brackets. So for the first two lists, we're inserting a string, since that's what the keys are. And then for the third list, we're inserting 1, and all of those pull back the keys for that value. How do you create a new value or override an existing value? Well, it's that same square bracket, key equal the new value. And so here we're inserting orange and we're going to print it out and it would be orange. Now, if we did after that D1 orange equal blue, then it would replace the original orange with blue. Here we're adding a number key. D34 is Bob. So we have 2 Bobs in the list. We're going to print it back out and there he is. Now, one thing to watch out for are missing keys. If you try to access a key that's not there, like pair, it's going to throw a key error, and you're going to have to deal with that in your code, especially in production. The easiest way to deal with it is to use the .get method, and you can pass in the key, comma, and then a default value, and that will put the default value in there if the key is missing. So here we don't have pair, so it comes back color, none, which I can then use to handle the logic differently if there isn't that key in the dictionary. The next operation is deletion. How do you remove a key? So the keyword DEL, and then it's the square brackets with the key in there. And so if we eliminate 4 out of the third dictionary and print it out, our second Bob is now gone. However, you have that same issue where if you try to delete a key that's not there, it's going to throw a key error. They have you covered though. There's another method called pop that you can use to grab the key out. It'll take the key out, give it to you, give you the value, and you put in a default. Now, you don't have to do anything with that, but it will prevent it from causing an error if that key's missing. And again, in production code, you've either got to handle this with a try except block that catches the key error or use the safe pop method. Now, in a previous lesson, we showed you how to get text from a file and then process that text to find a list of all the words that appear in that text. And you can go back to a previous video in the series and see how to do this. Here, we're pulling in our Tale of Two Cities text. We're cleaning it up by making sure that we only have letters that are in the ASCII letters, and then we're sorting it alphabetically. We're going to use dictionary to help us determine how many times each word appears in this list. There are better, more advanced ways of doing this. It involves things you haven't learned yet. So we're going to show you how to do it with a dictionary, which you now understand the basics of. So here we're going to start with an empty dictionary word count, open brace, close brace. Now we're going to iterate through every word in sorted words. And if the word is in word count, and the way we test that is the in clause, the in keyword. So if word in word count, that will return true if we've already got a value in there. it, or we'll return false if it's the first time we've seen the word. So if we already have it, we're going to do word count word plus equal 1. So we're going to increment the value by 1. If we haven't seen it yet, we're going to set it to 1. And at the end of this, let's print out the word count of about, and it appears in the text 169 times. So go back and practice with your own text that you get from Gutenberg. Build you a dictionary. Maybe it's a dictionary of all the M words. Find out how many times all the Z words have been there. Play around with this so you get familiar. You will use dictionaries in almost every program that you write in your Python programming career. Subscribe if you like getting content like this. I'm constantly coming out with new lessons about Python. If you learned something, hit that like button so I can help more people. I'll see you in the next one.